Hello, everybody. Welcome to Crafty Soup. My name is Misty. I am here with the Mixed Media Mayhem group as part of their new style of hop, and we'll get to that more in a minute. But for this group, we take an inspiration image and use it to inspire our own layouts. Now, when I say that this is a hop, they've changed how they do it a little bit, and there's a link to a Facebook group where you can click through the images that are shared, and there may or may not be videos attached. So that is how they are running the hop these days. So let's dive into this project. First, I want to take a closer look at the inspiration here that we are lifting, and part of the group is to add mixed media. This one already has a mixed media vibe to it, so that's pretty easy to work with. I do like the ray burst above the photo, and I like the general texture of the leafery, that's an official word, off to the left, but I'm not going to use leaves. So I have this photo of Christmas socks that I got as a gift, and they are warm and cozy. And when I created, this is my counterfeit kit, which I build every month. And when I created my kit, I did include icons of socks and warm, cozy clothing so that I could tell this story. So I'm going to use my counterfeit kit. I do have my photo in black and white so that I can use the color of my kit, because the current pair of socks I have in that picture was clashing with the kit color. So black and white photo with all of this fun burst of color will be fantastic. And here are those embellishment pieces that I mentioned that are lots of socks and sweaters and all kinds of cozy clothing stuff that I am going to use in place of the leaves as part of this layout. Now I have pre-chosen several other embellishments, a few Christmas images, a few floral images. So we're going to mix match a whole bunch of things going on today with the embellishing. I did use one of those Simple Stories sticker books, and the two sticker books that I have in my kit are Trail Mix and Vintage Flea Market, something along those lines. And I used the Flea Market collection to pull my stickers for the title, and we'll get to that a little bit more later. I pulled out the colors of inks that I used to create the embellishments that I have in my kit this month, and I'm going to reuse those for my stenciling. So the stencils were not in my kit, so I grabbed those from my stash. The inspiration image actually was a rub-on from 49th and Market, I believe, and I left that inspiration up in the corner so you can kind of follow along with what I'm saying. And the rub-on had different colors to it blending together. It also had layers of mixed media to it in terms of colors and textures. So I'm trying to recreate all of that with this stencil. I focused on three colors here because these three kind of primary-ish colors, pink is basically light red, and then a rich yellow and a light blue. When you overlap those colors, you're going to get some of those secondary colors on our color wheel, like purples and greens and oranges. So choosing three of the primary colors really is a good way to work with mixed media. Now I'm adding some layers to that with this kind of pebbly looking stencil. The shape of this stencil reminded me of the shape and texture of the leaves without being leaves themselves. As I'm adding this as a background layer to this side edge, I am trying to stencil in an arc. So I'm starting off heavier in the center right-hand section and then working that ink out towards the edges in a curved shape so that it fades away off in the curved edge. I did go ahead and pull out a few stamps because there was some text in the inspiration image, and I really like that as a background texture and layer. So I am going to add some of this text stamping. This is just a general script stamp that I've had in my stash for a very long time. I'm not even going to mount this on a block because sometimes when you're doing mixed media, having the flexibility of just inking up portions of the stamp and just pressing down portions of the stamp adds to a more organic feel than using a stamp block. So I just use my fingers to do that. And I will do the same thing with this kind of polka dot style stamp and add more texture to other parts of the layout as well. And I am thinking about color as I do this because I have lots of bright bursts of color up top. I don't want that to seem stark and out of place, so I am adding some of that color into other parts of the layout. And speaking of adding in more color, I took my blending brushes that have just a slight amount of ink left on them and used them to just add a blush of color to this bottom edge of this layout. And it is going to get largely covered up with other embellishments like my title cluster here, but that blush helps it the white paper not feel quite as starkly white and contrasty. So I like to do that to not only clean up clean off my blending brushes, but also add in some extra color and pizzazz down to the bottom corner. Now, the rest of this layout is really about just arranging all of these embellishments, and in place of the leaves in the inspiration, I am doing a cluster of both flowers and these kind of warm, cozy icons with slippers and socks and like a basket with blankets in it. And I'm adding in some sticker flowers as well as some puffy flowers and trying to add those to different areas of the layout as well. Now, all my Christmassy icons are going to kind of cluster around my title down there. But I think the colors blend in well enough with the other elements that it is okay. All right, so skipping past me gluing down bits to the paper, I'm going to finish building this layout. And I did like in the design the large white canvas overlaid on top of a more colorful canvas, and I like the stitching. So I've added both of those elements to this layout, and then I'm going to use the leftover threads from my stitching to create little thread nests to add to a couple of spots on this layout. And one, that's my frugality coming in where I don't want to throw away all those threads. And thread nests are a thing, so I can do it. I did need to grab a little bit more extra thread to balance out. Here's a little tip. If you've got thread nests and you never know how to adhere them, I hide some glue on the nest underneath something, and then I will use the leftover nonstick backing from stickers and apply some glue to that, and then kind of tap it down to my thread nest, and that will add some taps of glue without keeping it smushed flat entirely. So you still get some of the texture, but you get some of the adherence that you need to keep that thread nest from shifting. All right, leaving you with a couple of those close-ups, I will say that if you want to go check out more of this, you'll have to join the Mixed Media Mayhem Facebook group, and you can find this month's folder and follow along with everybody else's interpretations. All right, next week I have a bit of a quiet week as I'm getting ready for starting all over again with my schedule in February. So I hope you will join me for the one video next week and then a full month of February. Until then, have an artful day.